Running with Maverick and Wolfman. Hey guys, we got a special guest tonight.
Indeed we do. Don't forget to find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and the big one, YouTube. Make sure you turn on those notifications so you get alerts when we release great content.
That's right. Maverick here.
Wolfman here.
And who's our guest tonight, Wolfman?
Well, our guest tonight is a alumni from the same high school I went to. He has been consistently running since 2017. He's a 2:46 marathoner. He's completed Boston 3 times, and he'll be racing the New York City Marathon later this year.
Andy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Well, one of you I already know, but the other one, it's nice to meet you, Maverick.
So, Wolfman was kind of filling me in on some things. Apparently, you're a pretty fast marathoner.
I think you flatter me a little bit on that one, but I appreciate it very much. Yes. Put down a couple 2:46 marathons. Yeah.
Nice.
Now, was that at Boston or was that a different one?
Boston twice and then Chicago. I haven't progressed from 2:46 yet, but that's all right. I'm going to work on that.
How many years have you been marathoning?
I did my first one in 2018. And then tried in 2019 to qualify for Boston. I did 4 that year and 3 that year. And on my third one, I managed to get it. So it was good.
Nice.
Took a lot of work to get there, and then ever since then, just kept at it.
Now, I'm not a marathoner, so you have to fill me in. How was the first one?
Let's just say I was a little overly ambitious, as people tend to do in their first marathon, and I'm sure you've heard of people hitting the wall. Well, I certainly hit that hard at probably mile 17 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned that you need to make sure things are reined in for the first half before you let the horses run.
Nice. Now, what marathon was that?
Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia Marathon 2018.
Very nice.
Now, Wolfman was telling me you ran some kind of Rocky race or something in Philly.
Yeah, so there's the Rocky Run. It's a 10-mile. It's actually 2 weeks before the Philadelphia Marathon, so it's a great tune-up race for Philly if you're doing the full marathon. And that was the first time I ever used the super shoes, and I think I took like 7th overall, and out of like 10,000 runners or something like that. So
nice.
And went like an hour and 40 seconds, and I was like, whoa. And I trained through the whole summer, trained through the fall, and that was my very big breakthrough race where I never looked at my watch. It just said, just run it hard, and just shocked myself with it. And 2 weeks later, I did a 2:50 marathon. So yeah, it was believe in yourself, trust the process and let things happen.
Nice. So what, 2 questions on that. Did you dress like Rocky?
No, I did not. No, it was actually, I remember it was brutally cold that day. It was in like the low 20s.
Ooh.
So it was one of the few days I wore the full tights and an insulated top, and let it rip.
Nice. And what drew you to the marathon? Because if I recall, you didn't run in high school.
You would be correct. I did not. And kind of looking back on it, maybe I should have. Because and maybe I shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. It's hard.
Well, you
to
did
say.
other sports, I believe.
Yeah, I was a soccer player. Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
And I will always remember laughing at you guys running by me, like, "Haha, look at those guys." And now, yeah, I'm one of those guys. So it's kind of funny how fate happens sometimes. And it's funny, I mean, because I'm friends with some of the guys from your teams back then, and including your coach. So it's it's a great community all around. It just is. They've all been so good to me, and I met up with some of the guys at the school to do the mountain loop, which is pretty cool. And I've never did that before, and I always enjoy that.
Yeah.
And not to
Yeah.
get sidetracked, but
Oh, it's all good.
yeah, don't even remember what the question was.
What drew you to the marathon?
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
It was I did. I was only going to do the first. I basically did a half marathon, kind of checked that box. Didn't think I'd ever do it again. And then my buddy got me roped in with doing a Ragnar relay or two with him, and then I was like, "Oh, do I do the same race next year?" I was like, "Yeah, why not? We'll do it again." And that I trained a little bit more for that one, and I mean by a little, I mean like 35 miles a week topping out, and I think I did like a 1:33 half marathon, and I that was like the first I shocked myself, and I was like, maybe I could actually qualify for Boston, which was like the very first day I thought about that. And I had previously held it in such a high standard that I was like, only like the elite of the elite can ever do that. And then I was like, wow, maybe I could. And I never thought I could. So I just jumped into it feet first. I really devoted myself to it. And that's what kept me coming back was just chasing that goal, chasing that dream. And finally achieving it was something I never thought in a million years I could do, and I proved to myself that I could. So that's what kept me coming back. And then qualifying, I was like, "Hey, you're kind of decent at this whole running thing." So I just kept at it, and now it's yeah, I'm trying to do all six majors. I've done two of them. I'm doing the third in the fall, hopefully, and that's a story for another time. But in New York City, and the goal was to go under 2:45 at Boston this year. If the weather had been better, I think I would have gotten there, and that would have given me my automatic time qualifier for Berlin. But as it was, I still ran a tremendous race that I'm very proud of. So
Good.
um, yeah, so that's why I keep doing it. And I think the reason why I keep coming back to it really is that it takes a lot for a marathon to go right. You have to nail your nutrition. You have to nail your pacing, and you have to know your body very, very well. And the perfect example of that was Boston this year when, I mean, the start of the Newton Hills at 16, I mean, it was pure carnage because it was hot. I mean, it was a legitimately hot. It was the hottest day they've had in like 40 years at the race, and I think I heard after the fact they sent 2,000 people to the hospital that day.
Wow.
Um,
Business was good.
Yeah, and I can believe it because it was humid and it was hot at the start, and I there was so many people I was passing that I was like, I mean, including members of my own team that I was like, I don't know how I'm passing you right now because you are like on a good day 20 minutes faster than me. And I had several people ask me like, how'd you do it? And I was like, it was mental. And I was like, I knew what I was capable of. I knew what my body was capable of, and I just listened to it. Like I hit the Newton Hills, and I said, just get to the top of Heartbreak, and once you get to the top of Heartbreak, it's all downhill from there. But I was like, just keep composed and just get to the finish line. Like you're going to slow down, and that's okay, but you just keep running. Like even if you got to slow down, you keep running, and that's what I did. And I finished 26 seconds slower than last year, but I finished 300 places higher than last year, and I was in the
Wow.
top 1,000 overall this year. So that's why I keep doing it. I mean, it's a cruel, cruel race that you've got to do a lot of things right in order to have a good day. And even when you have a good day, it still hurts like the dickens. So um,
Charlie
yeah,
Dickens.
yeah,
Yeah, that's funny because we had races like that where the weather would be bad or there'd be a messy course, and the people that were not only physically strong but mentally strong would do a lot better than the people that were worried about it and would kind of
Mhm.
give up right away. So we
right.
definitely experienced that. Even in championship meets, we experienced that.
Yep.
That's really cool because I mean, everybody toes the line. I mean, you're running in the same conditions.
Yep.
Nobody's got an advantage there. So it's just who's got it, who's mentally tougher that day. And I respect you guys for being cross country guys. I've done actually one or two cross country races here in Philadelphia, and I've done some trail runs, but I know cross country is just a different animal as a whole. And I've seen pictures of some torrential downpours that you guys are running through, and I have the utmost respect for you. I mean, we've all been there. But man, slogging through the mud, that I feel like it could be fun to certain people, and then not fun to a lot of others.
The worse it was, the better it was for me. I always, if it was raining, if it was muddy, that was always better for me.
I like that because I remember talking to my dad. It was actually the Philadelphia Marathon where I had my breakthrough, and I was talking to him right before then, and I was like, "Yeah, Dad," I was like, "the weather's not looking great," and he was just like, "Well, you hunted in the rain, you fished in the rain, you played soccer in the rain, like, it's nothing you haven't handled before." And I was like, "Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, I'm not complaining about it."
Right.
And ever since then, I've just thought about that, where it's like I've worked out in the rain, like it's
Yeah.
just weather. I mean,
Yeah.
I think after a while, most of the people that we ran with kind of got to the point where they wouldn't even think about it. It wasn't really like a thing. If it was
yeah,
90 degrees or 30 degrees, they just were like, "Well, I'm just getting different gear. That's it."
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like
exactly
pretty
right.
much just wearing something a little different.
Now, collegiate cross country is 8K. Do I have that right?
Yeah. For men, it's 8K.
Okay, that's right. And women for 6K, which I still don't understand that, but whatever. Um,
We never understood it because sometimes we'd
Yeah.
run different kilometers too, and there'd be mile races and all kinds of stuff. They'd mix it up, different courses. It was
I
always
feel
weird.
like I don't think we ever did, but I feel like there were some that were 10K. Like the cross country was a 10K. I
well, I know
I don't know.
that D1 at least the championship race is a 10K, which is just
Maybe that's
bizarre to
what it
me
is.
that you're
Yeah.
running 8Ks the whole year and then the last race is suddenly a 10K. I
It
don't
just
I, I don't get it.
it was like I said, it would depend on the meet, like where you were going and what the purpose was and who was hosting. But I know there was one where there was multiple races, and I think I ran like a 4K. That was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Didn't Dickinson have multiples? Like they had a 5K, 8K, 4K, 2K. Like they had a whole bunch of them, I think.
Yeah, I was just always hoping to be on the right course.
I hope I'm the 2K today.
And you
I
follow
hope
the
I'm not
right
running the wrong
signs.
thing right
Yeah.
now.
Follow the right signs. Yeah.
We've got here in Philadelphia's Belmont Plateau, and there's the 6K course, the 5K course, and I think there's the 8K course as well. So you got to kind of watch your markers to see where you got to go there.
I think we ran there, didn't we, Wolfman?
Where was that at? Beaumont?
Philly?
Belmont
Belmont?
Plateau in Philadelphia.
I don't even know.
I want to say we did. Either we did or my brother did. I don't remember. I know I've been there, but I can't remember.
We ran a bunch of schools down that way, so I would not be surprised.
It's
Yeah,
it's the cross country course in Philadelphia. Like it's
um,
the only one.
I think we ran it once.
Yeah.
Was it Widener? Is it Widener
Yes,
down
yeah. I
there?
wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if it was wide in there.
I want to say we did it.
A lot of times those races in college, it was just we're going this weekend to this location and we're running it. I didn't pay attention to where a lot of times.
What school is that? I never heard of that
Yeah.
school. Where are we going? I remember that when we went to Penn State, and back when we were college Misericordia, we had CMs on our jerseys,
Yeah.
and this guy from Penn State was like, "You're Carnegie Mellon, right?" We're like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, you are." We're like, "No, we're not." And he's like, "Yes, you are. Why are you doing that?" And it's on your jerseys. We're like, "It's college Misericordia." He's like, "He has no idea what we are." He had no idea we were invited to the meet.
I've
Yeah,
got one
it's
of our throwback jerseys, and everybody thinks it's Michigan because it's that
Oh yeah,
highlighter jersey with the blue
uh,
M on the middle. And all the time, they're like, "You went to Michigan?" It's like,
I
no,
did. went
Misericordia, baby.
went there for 5 years.
I heard a little bit about College Misericordia's cross country team from a former teammate of yours from high school and Misericordia. So he told me a little bit about running about running a cross country meet at Penn State with all the D1 guys, and he said we went out with those guys, and our coach is like, "What are you doing? Like, you can't keep up with those guys." And he's like, "Yeah, we definitely couldn't, but
Yeah.
they
So,
tried."
some guys would go out super fast. It depended on your running style. Like I was always a slow starter. For that, I would be in the back and I worked my way up all the way through the whole course. But we had guys that would go out in what, like five ish,
Oh
like,
yeah, they go out like animals.
and like
Some could hang on and some couldn't.
it depends on how your running style. Like we had guys like that would run really quick first mile, and then they would kind of die back a bit, then kind of surge at the end. Some guys would run even. Some guys would run slower. Everybody's different, but
Right.
yeah, and to me like that, you don't want to get wrapped up in the excitement. Like you don't know these guys, you don't run with them every week.
Yeah.
It's D1, D2, D3. So just you gotta know your pace, know your place, and
Right.
don't try to be in the front. You don't want a good picture and be sick afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, and the way the guy that got me into this whole thing, Jordan Angerosa, I very much appreciate him a lot. Um, I always remember him telling me, "You run the race, so the race doesn't run you." And it took me a little while to understand what that meant, really, but it was. Um, I remember the New York City half marathon last year. I was really disappointed in my performance just because I didn't feel like I gave it my very best, and that kind of stung a little bit. And so Boston was about a month later, and I went out like an animal. I mean, I went out like a bat out of hell, and I think I split the half at one. I think I split the half at 1:21:30, which was my second fastest half marathon ever. And I still had a whole nother half to
Yeah.
go. And then again, the front half's the easy half, the back half's the hard half. So back half was 1:25, but I still set like a 4.5 minute, well, almost a 5 minute personal best. And it was just because I took a risk and took a chance and just said, if I blow up, I blow up, but I'm going to just give it my all, give it my very best, and whatever happens, happens. And sometimes you just got to take a risk like that.
Yeah.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. You when you especially when you're first, like you have like about 6 years in. You said I think of running.
Yep.
When you first start off, the first year or two, you don't know what you could do. Like you just kind of go out there and like I felt good, I felt bad, I don't know. Was that good? You have no idea. It takes years to get really good at it and get to know your body, know your nutrition. Then you just kind of fine tune, just like with like swimming is like that as well. Cycling is like that. You're just going to kind of build on it each year. Um, the cool thing about your story is you don't really know what you're actually able to do. So like you know where you're at right now, but 2 years from now you might be a lot faster. You just don't know.
I appreciate your optimism. Yeah, I we'll see. I mean, I'm certainly working towards it. Like I said, doing New York City in the fall here. My wife and I are expecting our first child in November here, so I know
Yeah. All
that,
right.
and I know you two are both fathers as well. So, and I know from some of your previous episodes, you've talked about basically sometimes you have to go really early in the morning or really late at night. So, just fitting in that training there. And, we both, my wife is a marathoner as well. In fact, qualified for Boston this year.
Nice.
Unfortunately, didn't make the cut because they had such a large time cutoff, but
Yeah.
she still qualified, which I'm obviously very
Yeah.
proud of.
Qualified. That's what
Yeah,
matters.
yep, and she's very proud of it too. But we both want each other to be able to continue this sport and train together and stuff like that. And that's kind of the fun part about it. We'll see what life holds for us. I don't exactly know, but we'll just do
Yeah.
what we can in the meantime.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know we had kid after kid after kid, so like my running just went to just more of a workout than a competitive
Yeah.
the competitive side. So it just depends on your life and what you want. I mean, could I have gotten earlier in the morning and got my runs in? Yeah, but at the time I wasn't really looking to be competitive. I already had a bunch of years in. I already had a bunch of, trophies and whatnot. I was just looking more to just enjoy life and experience different things. Now I'm at the point where I'm kind of coming back to it, and the same thing. Like I'm just going slow. I'm looking more to just get in shape, lose a couple pounds, and enjoy the running right now. I mean, down the road, maybe I'll get more into competitive racing again, but it's just not on the table for this year. It's more about
Hmm.
just getting out there and figuring out schedules and how to make things work and be creative with it. Versus the old days, you just roll out and just do your 8 to 10 miles and no big deal.
Yeah.
That's about right.
But having a kid's great, so you're gonna experience a lot of
Yeah.
different stuff. It's gonna change your world, I'll tell you that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we've already got the jogging stroller on the registry, so that's definitely going to happen.
That's the
Always
best.
get a
That's the best.
double.
Yeah, that is true too. And I always see people out on the trails around here with their strollers, their jogging strollers, and I'm just like, I respect you so much, like I really do, because that'll be me one day. And yeah, the nice thing is being in South Philadelphia, I've got a lot of open terrain where there's no cars or anything, so I can just
Yeah.
kind of go there and jog around for a while and then come on back. Hopefully, to tire the kid
Nice.
out so he sleeps.
Yeah. I remember our first two. I worked a 4-day work week, and one of those days that was nap time. They'd go in the double stroller, and I'd go to this rail trail and run it down, run it back, and that was nap time.
Nice. Now, how far was that?
That rail trail, I don't even remember how far it was. But even when you got to the end, I never did this with the boys, but even if you got to the end, you could get on the road a little bit and then jump onto the Appalachian Trail.
Nice.
Um, so it was longer, but I can't remember how long. I'd have to look it up.
All right. I was just more curious than anything. Are we
Yeah.
talking like an hour or are we talking 20, 30
Yeah.
minutes?
No, it's probably closer to an hour run,
All right.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a longer trail because you could do long runs on it if you wanted to.
Very cool.
So yeah,
Yeah, I
it
would
was fun.
sometimes do, like, a relay with the kids, so I would have one kid get in the running stroller, go do, like, a mile or 2, come back, get them out, put the next kid in, go do a mile or 2, come back, get them out, and I would do my run like that because they would all wanna go in, and at first, we only had 1, we had a Bob running stroller, it was, like, single because
Hmm.
we only had, like, 1 kid, then we had 2 kids, and then 3 so then I had a double, and then I'd be like, "Who wants to go?" And then the kids started getting bigger, and they still would wanna go, and you're like, it's
I mean,
Resistance
it's a
training.
calf workout.
like you're kind of hanging out of the whole stroller. I mean, it's not really meant for a kid that size, and I don't know if this brake is gonna work.
I recommend flat.
But
Yeah, it makes a good. Yeah, don't go downhill with that.
oh no, we lived in the mountains, so I couldn't not do.
Ooh,
I'd go
ooh.
downhill to start with, and
Whee!
I'd be uphill on the way back, and yeah, you kind of learn tricks on it. Kind of how to lean on it a little bit and stuff
Mm.
to help yourself out a little bit, but it's not helping yourself out.
Yeah, and every time I go back to Dylan and I, or Wolfman's and I hometown there, I mean, living where I do in South Philadelphia, I mean, there's entire weeks I get less than. I'll put in like a 60-mile week and have like 1,000 feet of elevation gain just because it's
Yeah,
so flat. And then I go up there and I do an 8-mile run and get like 1,200 feet of climbing, and I'm just like,
yeah,
gosh, it's like there is not 10 feet of flat ground up here. Like it's just up or down at like a 20% grade.
yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah,
It's
no,
fun.
that's the thing. Our teammate did that. He ran in Philly all summer, and then came back, and he was a mess.
Yeah, I believe that. I
His
believe
first
that.
week was terrible. He didn't remember he dropped that first run. He didn't finish it. He went out
Yeah.
leading, couldn't finish the run.
On the flats, I bet he did, but yeah,
Oh,
he
well,
had, he had any kind of incline.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
downhill and flat on the way out. It was like we probably made it. What did we make it? That's probably 6 miles out or something, I forget, 5, 6 miles out, and then turned around, and the uphills crushed him. So
Yeah, I'm not
we got to, like, the
surprised.
last half mile, and he had to walk.
I mean, and I have to go. I mean, you have to go looking for it here. You just do. And I mean, there's a guy that I'm good buddies with that he ran. It's just the most insane thing I've ever heard. And I mean, he's sick to begin with, but he's an ultra runner, and I love him to death. And he ran over and back on the Ben Franklin Bridge 500 times last year. Like
In a
every
row.
run was him just going back and forth over the
I was
Ben
gonna say
Franklin
that's
Bridge.
every day.
Yeah, every
Wow.
day. Yeah, every day. He ran it 500 times last year, and I don't know how. I don't know why, but this is the guy that loves to do looped race, like 12-hour races around a track. Or he just did the 72 hour out in the dome in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, around an indoor track. 72 hours, just nothing but around an indoor track.
200
And I'm just,
meters. Just
yeah, and I'm just like,
wow.
I don't know how you do this. Like, I genuinely, like, I would go stir crazy. Like, I need variation. I something different, Which is why,
Yeah.
I've done 5,000s on a track, but man, if I had to step up to a 10,000 on a track, I'm not sure I could do that.
I
So
think
our
people just
oh,
jump from challenge to challenge. I think that's how they get to those
Yeah,
crazy
that's true.
things. Like they're just like,
That's
well,
true.
what's bigger? And then the only
Right.
thing bigger is something nutty like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
is a ultra on the docket for you, Andy?
I've done what, three or four of them?
Have you?
Two,
Good for you.
three. Yeah, I've done three of them. They were in 2019 when I was just sort of still figuring things out, and it was the summertime, and I was like, well, they've got an aid station, and it's an excuse to do a long run, so that's essentially what I did. So, but I was absolutely bulletproof that summer, and I think 30. I did 31 and a half miles the first time, and then the second one was like 36 miles or something like that. And it was a looped course, 6 hours. And I was like, yeah, great. So check
Gotcha.
that
So
box. But
how far you can go in 6 hours? Is that what it was?
yeah, that's exactly
Okay.
right. Around a 4.16-mile loop was what it was. And then the other one was a 3.7-mile loop. And that's actually where I met this guy that's the crazy ultra runner dude. And he lives in Philly now, and I buy my running shoes off of him from the Philadelphia Runner store. So he's a good guy.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yep.
You said you train with a team, or you train on your own, or
Yeah, well, a little bit of both, really. I'm the vice president of the Elite Running Club here in Philadelphia. We've got almost 200 members in the club. A couple people have qualified for the Olympic trials in the marathon. We have one guy that's a sub 4 minute miler. Um, I,
nice.
Another woman that I know has competed at like the Boston Valentine's Day invite and like did very, very well there. So, um, yeah, we've got some truly elite talent in the club. I am far from that, but I am on the board there, and it's a really great community. And I see these guys out here, there, and everywhere, running around, and it's always good to say, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Whoever,
Nice.
and
Nice.
or just pop in with them and run a few miles, something like that. And we've got a Slack channel where we, hey, group run here, show up at this time if you want to join us, and also it's for social things too. Some of those guys have really turned into pretty good friends. So I would say the majority of my miles is I do solo, and first thing in the morning, get up and get it done, and you know. Um, just because I'm kind of doing my own thing, and I'm down in South Philly. Everybody else tends to be a little bit farther north, but that's all right. And if I want to run slow, I run slow. If I want to go fast, well, those guys are way faster than me, but that's besides the point. So it's
You
kind of
know,
where I'm at with it.
I always found it interesting that all the like elite, like super elite, I should say, like basically pro caliber Olympic trial type people that I've met, very cool, very down to earth. Because you would expect to have this like this superiority kind of complex like you see in some sports, but they didn't. They were all very just open and friendly and would provide some advice and just very
Yeah.
cool.
I
Wolfman, I don't know if
completely
you've
agree with
had
that.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have. I mean, I know Three of them with a borderline fourth that qualified for the Olympic trials, and I've had good conversations with all of them. Just yeah, hey, what was it like? And just talking like, hey, what was it like competing at that level? What was it like being around the true? I mean, they're already elite, but then there's like the next level elite, the people
Yeah,
that are actually winning
The
it, and
pro people,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
yeah. These are still elite hobby joggers, and those are the sponsored people,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
just hearing their stories of what that was like. It's a cool thing just to be around them, and
yeah.
kind of take. I mean, just last fall, we had two members of the club that qualified for the Olympic trials at the Philadelphia Marathon, and I was on my bike chasing them around because I raced the Philly half the day before, and I was chasing them around and cheering everybody on. And we had a woman that she originally missed it by 1 second, but they went back to the video and determined that she actually made it by 1 second. So the
That's
cutoff
great.
was 237, and she was 236.59. So
Sweet.
made it by 1 second,
Nice.
and that was a really cool experience being able to cheer her on as she really went for it.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I remember one of our coaches was qualifier for the Olympic trials, and he ran it, and he's a funny guy. Shout out to Coach Dan, but he is just a great guy, and he would tell us these stories about when he was running, and he was a D2 All American, if I'm not mistaken,
Something like
and
that. Yeah.
just got better and better. Like his whole life, he just kept getting better. And he was telling us this story about how he like showed up to run. He was like, "I'm going to run under 4 today. I'm going to break 4 minutes in the mile today." And he ran like a 4:06, and he was so disappointed. And he was telling us a story. We're like, 4:06 is awesome, man. That's still a great time. It's not like you said a bad day. He's like, yeah, but I wanted to break 4. He's like, but all I was worth was a 4:06. And we're just all crack up laughing because like none of us were running a 4:06. Like we
No.
were quick guys, but we weren't running 4:06s. Um, and then he was telling some stories about like how he went and trained in Africa, and he would train with this group and that group, and all this crazy stuff he used to do to try to get faster. Uh, he's a really cool guy, and just his stories and his being down to earth and taking the time to
Yeah.
work with us because he didn't need a coach. He didn't need to be
No.
coaching a bunch of D3 guys. He didn't need to be coaching anybody. He could just been running. He was still very competitive, even in his 40s. He was running
Yeah.
good times.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even some
Yeah.
of the. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I say even some of the pros I've met are super down to earth. I don't know if I've told you this story, Mav, or not, but the one wine glass half marathon I did, it was the first one I'd done in a while. Just ran it to finish it, and I come across the finish line. I told my family, don't even come. Like, I'm just running it. I crossed the finish line. It's a Sunday during football season, so I had Packers stuff on.
Of course he did.
I did. I come
Did not
across
know you were did not know you were a Packers fan.
this
I
guy's
would love to
like,
hear that story someday.
yeah. Well, this one guy's like, at the finish line, he's giving out the medals. He's like, "Hey, wow, Packers! I like the Packers too." And we're chit chatting a while, and all of a sudden, I realize this is freaking Meb. I'm talking to Meb right now about the Packers. Shakes my hand, gives me a hug and everything, and then walk away. Of course, I have no camera. My family's not there because I told them not to come. And I'm just like, I just had a conversation with Meb about the Packers. Nobody's ever going to believe this.
Yeah, then you realize you were hallucinating, right?
Yeah, probably.
That's pretty cool. We
Wow.
have
Yeah.
Des Linden.
Okay.
Des Linden and Alphine Telemuk were ambassadors for the Philadelphia Marathon, and so they're both here at Philly every year for the race. And I kind of chickened out, and I didn't ask to get a picture with Des. I should have sometime, but that's all right. But I know somebody like it's all over the social media accounts, like them handing out medals after the race and stuff like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, like I wish I could have had that.
Yeah. I never get pictures with anybody. It's the funniest thing. Like people are like, "Didn't you get a picture?" I'm like, no. They get asked for pictures all the time.
I know,
I have a
which is kind of
conversation.
why I
I
did.
say, "Nice to meet you," like give them a
Yep.
nod. Like when I walk by
Yep.
somebody that's famous, I just give them the nod. What's
That's
up?
exactly what I do too, and that's exactly why I didn't with Des. I was like, and my buddy was like, "You realize that's her whole purpose here is to shake hands and take pictures, right?" I was like,
No, that's okay then. That's different, you
"Yeah,"
know.
and I was like,
Yeah.
"You know what? Yeah, you're right. I know that, but I still feel awkward about asking for it, so I'm just gonna let it go."
Yeah. Yeah, like if that's the whole purpose of the event or whatever. But like if I go to a restaurant and Michael Jordan's eating dinner right there, I'm not asking for an autograph.
Right,
I'm not
right,
I'm
right.
not interrupting dinner. I'm just going to be like, "All right, enjoy your dinner. Nice to
I've
see
I've
you."
You're right.
actually I've actually run into one of the Phillies just out and about before, and I kind of a weird story. I I held the door for him because he was coming in as I was going out, and I just was so dumbstruck that I wanted to say something along the lines of like, "Hey, thanks for everything," and I just like awkwardly stared at him, and he was just like, "Thanks." I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, that was one of the Phillies." Like, "Oh, cool."
That that's that's better though, because now he's that's cooler, you know. It
Yeah,
would
it
be
is. It
if that was me though. Like if I was playing for the Phillies and someone held the door for me like that, I'd give you a tip. I'd put the tip in
is.
there.
You're too kind. I appreciate
I just got a tip from a Philly.
it. Actually, it's a cool story on that a running related topic related to the Phillies. My very good buddy Eric Reitinger actually won the Phillies 5K this year in a torrential downpour, and my wife was ran the race as well because you got 4 free tickets. So why wouldn't you do that? And it was in April in a torrential downpour, and my buddy won it. And if you win it, you get honored on the field during a Philly. Well, sorry, like yeah, right before a Phillies game, you get honored like on the field, and you get some autograph stuff and blah 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 blah. Well, he gets a hold of me. He's like, "Hey, do you want to take my do you and your wife want to take the 2 of the tickets?" I was like, "Yes, I do." And he's like, "All right, cool. I'm showing up to the stadium at 4:30. The game's not till 6:30." But he's like, "We're getting like a backstage tour and everything." I'm like, "Awesome." So we literally got an entire tour of Citizens Bank Park. Got to meet a whole bunch of people that if you're a Phillies fan, you would know. And we got our picture with John Crook,
Oh, nice.
who's one of the announcers and part of Macho Row from the 1993 World Series team. And I was just like, I am meeting one of my childhood idols right now because my buddy won the Phillies 5K. This is like one of the greatest days of my life.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it was a really
That
cool
is.
experience. So you never know
I,
where running will take you.
I
That
would
is
say
true.
if you said pick one of the Phillies, I'd pick John Kruk. That would be it. I'd be like, yeah, I want to meet John Kruk. That'd be hilarious. I'm sure he's gonna say something
Oh, he
funny.
what? He's as much of a curmudgeon in real life as he is on the broadcast. Like, I love him for that. I really do. He
I
is entertaining.
I
And
I still remember when he got thrown at, or didn't get
oh
thrown
yeah,
at,
by
but the
Randy
ball. Yeah,
Johnson.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
they're like, what was your goal? He's like to live. It was a good at bat. I mean that's hilarious. And you know, he's a hilarious player. His quotes are great.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Phenomenal.
Yep. I could definitely send you those pictures later. But yeah, my good
Awesome.
buddy Eric, who's way faster than me, but we do some training runs together. He comes into the city, and we hit the hills together over here because he lives over in Jersey and doesn't really have hills over there. So he has been my other unofficial coach, mentor, friend since the day I started. It was kind of a funny story. We worked at Lockheed together. I left the company, but we still stayed in touch. And I was like, "Hey, you were a runner. I'm doing this half marathon." And then I came back to Lockheed, and lo and behold, he became my manager. And I was like, "This is great." And so we would talk running during our one-on-ones, and we still do. And you know, Philadelphia's got just an amazing slate of races. I mean, we don't need to travel anywhere, which is great. We
Yeah.
stay in our homes. We go to the race first thing in the morning. We race it, and we're back in an hour. I mean, I've frequently finished the race and then just ran home because for the cool down. About four
Yeah.
miles from where it all ends, which is the start of the art museum steps, is where every race starts. So
Yeah.
it's about
See,
4.5 miles to home.
I'm like that. Like a lot of people are like, I want to go run in this state and that state, and I'm like, no, I want to go on vacation to that state. I want to run, within a couple hours. I don't want to go, 5 states away and run a race. I just want to
Right,
go there and go to the beach or whatever.
right. Well, it's
Yeah.
funny because my wife and I did our honeymoon in Hawaii last December, specifically on the dates we did, so we could do the Honolulu Marathon.
Yeah.
So we ran a marathon on our honeymoon because we're crazy like that.
Nice.
See, it makes sense when you have like when the two of you are runners like that.
Right,
Like
right.
that makes perfect sense. But yeah, on our honeymoon, no, I barely ran. I think that was a long time ago.
No. We always every place we travel, we're always like, "Ooh, is there a race in town this weekend? Let's take a look." And I'm usually, if it's a local race, I'm usually in the running for an age group medal or something like that. Sometimes
Sure.
overall, but if there's high school cross country kids to show up, forget it. I'm toast. But if it's anything more than that, usually I'm in the running. So if it's local,
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
it's always fun to jump in those.
absolutely
Hmm.
it is. I mean, get to see a different town, and see what they have to offer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Those are definitely fun races, though. I mean, for how small they are and how like local they are, I always had a good time at those.
Yeah, it sure is fun. I mean, you get just a lot of different groups and a lot of different benefits, a lot of different things too. Whether it be a volunteer fire
Yeah.
company or a conservatory or something like that. They all have a worthwhile benefit, and that's why whatever the entry fee is, $30, $40, even
Right.
50. It's like, yeah, sure, here you go, like no
Yeah.
problem.
And
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's some interesting twists and turns. I remember I ran the St. Patrick's Day Parade 5K in Scranton one year. Yeah, that's interesting to see a bunch of
Grand
drunk
Island.
people like in the morning,
Oh
like early
yeah,
morning, drunk.
yeah, yeah. I can imagine so.
I mean, and throw up on the side. It's like, are you kidding me? What time is it?
Well, the Philly Marathon, you get out towards Manayunk, they have the beer tables set up for you. I mean, you can have a beer with those guys if you want. So I never took advantage of it, but it's not really my thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny
But
though.
it's always fun. And Boston is just, I love that. I mean, I love it so
Yeah.
much because it's a party, start to finish. Everybody in the state shows up, and I mean, they are just rowdy, and that's what makes it fun to me. Is like the crowds, like
Yeah.
they just really, really get into it, and it really just if it helps you find something more, and I
It
feel like
does.
it
Sure.
brings out the very best in me at least. In Chicago last year when I did it was the same way. Like the crowd support was just absolutely incredible.
That
I
was a
mean,
crazy, incredible race too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Last year's.
watching that.
oh, yeah, the men's world record was set there, and the second fastest women's marathon ever was set. Yeah, it was
Yep,
ideal weather conditions. It was absolutely ideal.
yep, amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was a good day. I remember I think we heard about that at like mile 24 or something like that. Like somehow word got back to us. We're like, what? It's insane.
That is crazy.
And you were part of it. You ran the
Yeah, I
same.
know. Yeah,
You might
that's
have stepped
exactly.
in one of those footsteps.
It's very true. It's very true. That was a fun day.
I bet.
So how about you guys? Any races coming up?
We got a 10 miler in September, I think, Mav.
Yep, I'm so looking forward to it.
You
Scranton
know,
10 miler?
I
which
don't
one
know
is it?
where does it start? I don't know. It's
I'm not sure either.
down here
Is it
somewhere.
the Wyoming Valley one?
I think it's
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that they started that race here just a year or two ago. And from what I gather, they got some truly elite guys to show up to it too.
Yeah, we know some of the guys that are involved with the board, and they're all
Right.
good guys, and they know some people. So there's probably going to be some pretty good guys. I'm not running up there though. I'm not going in the front.
Yeah, we are.
I'm not trying to hurt in the first 5K. I'm going to just be taking it easy. It's going to be a warm up race for me.
All
You,
right, all
That's
right.
it.
you got to get the
Warm up.
rust back off somehow.
And
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
and
Yeah.
Wolfman's gonna have his shoes tied. Oh, he doesn't have laces. Never mind. I can't tie his shoes together.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do the five finger.
I do.
Yeah, that was interesting. I heard about that.
So, how many guys on your team in Philly do the five finger vibrams?
I'll let you take a guess on that one.
I'm gonna go with 0.
That is absolutely correct. That is
Wolfman's
absolutely
gonna
correct.
Wolfman's gonna be sponsored by them at some point. They're gonna be like, "This guy's still
Maybe.
running in these."
And
Yeah, man.
Wolfman, I got to give you all the credit in the world for it. I don't know how you do it. I tried a little bit to start, and I was like, no, this just isn't working for me, and that's fine. And
Yeah.
fortunately, I've knock on wood been injury free in my feet at least. Some other injuries I've dealt with that aren't feet related, but been fortunately, and I'm going to knock on wood here, been fortunately healthy since basically January 2022. So I'm
Really?
happy about that.
Stick with what you're doing then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Very happy.
If Wolfman went to regular shoes again, or some kind of
Oh,
racers,
he'd be toast.
he'd be injured immediately.
Well, not only
Probably.
that, but he would probably win every race he went into. I
Yeah,
mean, if he strapped on some of the Nike Alpha Flies, like, yeah, nobody'd touch him.
this guy just dropped 35 minutes. They test him clean. He's clean.
We'll see.
Well, I
Can't
look
train in
forward
them
to seeing
forever,
what you can
probably,
do with
but
it.
I,
There's
I, I
only.
honestly,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do really want to get you into some races and actually see what you can do. Like give you regular racers, super shoes, the Vibrams, and see where you end up. Like do
that would be
3.
fun.
Yeah, I really want to do that.
Probably tear my feet up. I'd have to like rotate workouts probably in them, or I'd probably get myself
We
hurt.
just do like a cycle. You leading into it, so you get used to it.
Yeah,
So it
that's what I mean.
won't be like
Yeah.
back to back to back or anything. It won't be
Yeah.
like Disney.
That was fun.
There's only one guy I've ever seen in all the races I did that was kind of in my pace group that ran in, I guess the Vibrams. Is that what they're called?
Yeah. Well, the five finger brand is
Yeah.
Vibrams. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's like Zero and there's all kinds.
Right. Yeah. There's only one guy, and I just remember hearing like clap, 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 and I was like, "What the heck?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, hey, good luck to you, man."
It,
Yeah.
it's
That
it's
might be
kind
his
of funny.
mechanics. I'm like a
You
ninja.
Well, yeah, you run differently. It's all because first of all, they look different because you have all the toes separated, so it doesn't
Yeah.
look like a traditional shoe. And then the way you strike, you can kind of see that whole foot come down and kind of grab the ground it's almost like a hand. It's like watching a hand running on the bottom of someone's leg. It's kind of unique.
Yeah, I would pay good money to see that sometime. You
Oh
have to
my
come down
god.
to Philly sometime and race with us because I would love to see that.
I would like to do the Philly Marathon. It's on my list.
Good man. Well, come down and do the Philly 10K in August with us because there's
Ooh,
truly
August.
elite guys that are going to show up to that one too. So that's a fun one, but man, it is hot. Oof, boy, is it going
I
to be
bet.
hot.
Maybe 2025 for that one then.
Yeah. And Northeast Bradford's cross country coach showed up at PDR last year, and I briefly met him once before, and I saw him, and I was like, "Wait a minute, are you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know you too." And so we shared a warm up together, and he put down a 106 half, so he's quite speedy. But it was impressive to see. But he came all the way
Yeah.
down from Bradford County, so if you want to do a half
Nice.
marathon, that's the absolute flattest one you'll ever do in your entire life.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, oh gosh, yeah. 0 out of 10 for course creativity, but 10 out of 10 if you want a flat, fast course. So,
That's wild.
but that's another one where it's going to be about mid 60s with about 100% humidity. So just kind of be prepared for that one.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So hot.
Yep. Yep. You got a room to stay in if you need it. So We don't mind guests.
There you
Sweet
go.
deal.
Yeah, I'll be racing the Philly 10K, Philly Distance Run half marathon there, and then New York City Marathon in the fall. So that's the big one.
Nice.
That's actually I'm in week 2 of the build for that. So we'll see what happens
Good.
with it.
Yeah. Well,
Andy,
good luck
is
to
there a
you.
way for our listeners to follow you? Like, do you have any Instagram or anything that you post on?
I do have Instagram. I don't really post a whole lot on there though. Yeah, I mean, if people wanted to, it's the
That's okay.
Polish Fisherman. That's what it
There you
is.
go.
You're more than welcome to give me a follow. Like I said, I don't have a lot on there, but once in a while, I mean, you can actually follow me on Strava. That's where I share a lot more stuff, I would say. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just all my runs, workouts, stuff like that.
Cool. Very cool.
That's
Well,
where I
thanks so
follow
much.
him.
Appreciate you sharing with us, and
Of
we
course.
really
Yeah.
wish you the best with these upcoming events. And I'm sure you're going
Yeah.
to do really well.
I appreciate it very
Yeah.
much. Yeah, yeah,
Good luck
and
with those, and good luck with the new baby.
I appreciate it very much,
Just
gentlemen.
keep.
And
My advice is keep running, even though you have the baby. No matter what, just keep going. Don't get away from it. Getting away from it is tough.
like Forrest Gump.
That's
That's
it.
right.
Just make it work. Well, you and your wife both run, so just keep going. Share the time. Marina was on our show a couple episodes back, and her and her
Yeah.
husband, they just make it work. They got two, and they just trade off and switch times, and that's the best advice. Just don't get away from it, because it's gonna be harder to get back into shape if you get
Right.
away from it. But if you just stay at a baseline, even if it's a little less, you'll be able to rebound quickly, get back into racing shape, and whatever you got to do.
I love that. I appreciate
Yeah.
it, gentlemen, and I look forward to talking with you guys again sometime. And
Yeah.
Very good.
like I
Thank
said,
you.
please let me know if you're ever down here in Philadelphia. I'd love to catch up with you guys, and maybe we can do a race together sometime, even if
Yeah.
it's up in Scranton or somewhere else like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Philly, I got a bunch of people are telling me to do the Philly 10 miler. So we'll see how this 10 miler
Broad
goes.
Street.
And
Broad
then if this
Street.
goes if this goes okay, Broad Street will be on the list.
There it is.
Nice.
There's the
I want
shirt.
the shirt.
Yep. So there it is. And yeah, Broad Street run down net downhill, I think of 150 feet. There's technically there is like elevation gain somehow of like 50 feet. So it is the fastest 10 miler I think ever ran in the world was at the Broad Street run. So 45:10 if I'm remembering right.
That's
And
you, Maverick. 4505.
45:10, that sounds like a 400-meter time.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Broad Street Run, 40,000 runners, a
3,000
lot of fun.
runners.
40,000 runners, yeah,
Jeez, I got to
100%
do it
deserved.
now.
You really do, honest to God. It's totally worth it, and it's just it's a lot of fun. It really, really is. And the nice thing is, it ends a mile and a half from my house. So as
Sweet.
with most races, I just finish, grab the medal, run back to my house, and then and I cheer for everybody on my run back up. So it works out really well. And
Nice.
Awesome.
yeah, but I want to keep you guys, and it's a pleasure talking running with you.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
too,
you
man.
too.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Enjoyed it.
Very good. All right. We'll catch up with you after the next one.
Sounds good, guys.
All
Take care of yourselves.
You
right.
too.
Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.
Maverick and Wolfman running out.